Call this meeting of Toledo City Council, regular meeting for August 7th, 2024 to order. First item, pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
It goes a lot smoother when you're in person
I believe you.
without that little delay kind of thing going on, and it throws everybody off.
It's okay. It throws me off too. All right, next up, we'll take roll.
You have an extra?
Counselor Mix is sick. She is at home.
No, she said she's gonna be there.
Well, she thought she was too, but she overdid it.
Oh,
I knew she was going to.
I was
Well,
afraid of that.
I did too. I mentioned I've been there, done that, and yeah,
It
uh-huh.
was good to see her though.
Yes, it was.
Very good to see her all bubbly and happy.
No kidding. All right, Counselor Kaufman.
Here.
Counselor Strong.
Present and very far away.
What is
Well,
it?
then at least hold us up the fish you caught.
I'll bring it back. We'll eat it.
Okay, that'll work. Counselor Sylvia.
Here.
Counselor Burns.
Yes,
Council President Bush.
here.
And I'm here. We have a quorum. We have enough to do business. First up is a presentation from Police Chief Mike Pace. I'm looking forward to this for how many years?
So many. So we have the opportunity to recognize the only one of the dead in the police department, which is Patrolman Gary Sumter. As you can see there, his end of watch was on March 15th, 1969. And wait till she pops us up a little further. So the opportunity that we have is that it's passed the Senate, it's passed the House. And now we have the opportunity to purchase a sign for the highway, Highway T29, where he perished. I kind of want to go through his stuff real quick. The first thing I'd like to read is Chief Nozak was the chief of the police department at that point in time. And he read this at his eulogy, and he said, "Courage, integrity, dignity, knowledge." The above words help to make and describe a professional police officer. They certainly applied to Toledo police officer Gary Sumter. He not only lived up to the code of ethics for law enforcement officers, but was also the personification of what the profession would endeavor ultimately to achieve. We shall remember him as an excellent and outstanding officer who gave of himself with tirelessly unselfish devotion to duty, his fellow man, community, country, always fair, honest, polite, kind, and considerate. Gary was a duty officer shortly before midnight on March 15th, 1969, when a radio call asked for his assistance to other police agencies outside Toledo. Engaged in pursuit of a vehicle and person or persons and circumstances entirely unknown to him or of his making. With superior ability, he worked his way into the second position of the three pursuing vehicles, when the pursuit found itself in the lonely mountain countryside. He, still in command of himself and situation, radioed back to the rear car, warning of the road hazards, etc. Then the deadly intent of pursuit took shape. The driver was out of his car, which was parked crosswise in the road, armed with a high-powered 30-06 rifle and using his car as a shield. He was firing at his pursuers from an ambush. Gary was under fire immediately when he stopped and doused his headlights to protect the officer who was already sustaining heavy fire at close range. Receiving a nearly fatal head wound and retreating under Gary's cover fire toward the protection of Gary and Toledo police car. Gary crouched in the proper driver's position behind the driver's door, also still on the radio, warning the rear car for that officer's safety, using all available precautions that he could defend himself and the others against his onslaught. The assailant moved closer, firing from cover, striking Gary with a bullet that passed through the car door, pierced his badge, and entered his heart. Gary managed to crawl about 30 feet and expired with his gun still in his hand, having fired 3 shots in defense of Gary Durr and himself. Service to my community. Gary helped all of us through the winter's cold and heavy snow, using his four-wheel drive to assist with dead batteries and motorist stuck in the heavy snow. We know for certain his efforts also kept the hospital staff maintained by shuttling the shifts back and forth to work. Gary loved to help others and spent many hours in doing so. Gary was heard by all of us at all times to make the comment, mark it up to service my community. So a little bit about Gary. He started his community service as a U.S. Navy hospital man, second class from 1962 to 1956. He attended the University of South Carolina, bachelor's in chemistry. He spent training as an X-ray technician, and he worked at the new Lincoln Hospital, which is the old Foursquare church that we have currently in our area. This used to be the county seat, so there's a lot of services here. He worked there as a lab tech, and he made $9.60 an hour. He lived at 535 Southeast Elder Street. And he was issued his employment for the city of Toledo on July 12th, 1967. He was killed in the line of duty on March 15th, 1969. Accolades. As you know, Gary was employed in the local hospital as a laboratory technician. Gary was well thought of in our community. One of these seemingly rare types of individuals that add to both socially and professionally any community. In regards to police work, I found that Gary learns very quickly, has a good working relationship plus a good understanding of people. He does not lose his cool very easily. That was from Sergeant Richard Bowman from Sweet Home Police Department where he worked before. And I talked to Officer Durs, or Trooper Dur was the state trooper that was the first officer that was on scene that was under fire from the assailant. I had the opportunity to talk to his son, and he told me that his dad talked about Gary a lot and about that night a lot. And he said that if you don't know what it's on, if it wasn't for him, that would be. But his son actually grew up in his father's footsteps and was a law enforcement officer for 30 years as well. And so they were able to, we all kind of accumulate trauma in this field. And so he was able to talk to his dad about the trauma he's experienced and stuff like that. It's like, so like I said, Gary always used to say, mark it up to the service of my community. So what I would, I think was the thing. Darcy, real quick. Thank you. So I give you a little more background in the RCA as well about what happened. But I am asking that the city approve the expenditure of $600 from its reserve fund. Special purchases and line item for a fallen officer memorial highway sign to honor Toledo Police Department Gary Sumter.
Well, and we have that on our agenda this evening, so.
Oh, perfect.
RCA.
Request for council action.
Any questions at all?
Chief, did you have anyone else with us tonight?
I don't believe so.
Well, I know you have worked tirelessly on this over the last, 3 years to get it through legislature?
It was one of my goals as the police chief to make sure that he was honored. I guess at one point in time, talking to his family, there used to be a picture of him and a plaque in Toledo, but I can't find it. I have no record of him receiving any Medal of Valor or his family being recognized for the sacrifice that they had. There is actually, I'm going to open it up for anybody that might be in the audience outside if they would like to speak.
Somebody's got their hand raised.
I would
Mary,
like to,
go ahead.
yes, hi. I'm here to represent former Police Chief Al Nosak and his family and the families of all officers. When you're part of a police family, whether you're own blood or inclusive of all police families, the weight of their selfless service is part of life. While we can be proud of their service, we can also recognize how it affects our everyday lives, silently and unnoticed. The calls in the middle of the night, rushing out the door during non-work hours, or even the warnings that come because you are related. The late 60s were full of unrest in our country, which set everyone on high alert. My father was police chief when the full weight of Officer Sumter's service and ultimate sacrifice came crashing down on that fateful day. The ripple effect through our own family and our community was palpable, but nowhere near the reality experienced by the Sumter family. Every day we watch our family members walk out the door, not knowing what they might encounter or whether they will return, even in a small town. We are grateful to Representative David Gomberg, and Police Chief Michael Pace for moving mountains to bring long and well-deserved recognition of the loss of Officer Sumter, and more importantly, to those who survived him. Please let us honor the Sumter family for their own sacrifice. And in turn, be mindful and supportive of all police families. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mary.
Thank you, Mary, very much for that.
You're
Chief,
welcome.
I understand that when we have the new department open, that we have a room.
Yeah, I'll be designated one of the rooms as a sub in the room. I don't ever want his legacy to be forgotten.
Is there a way we can do a Medal of Valor at this time?
Absolutely. And when we unveil the sign, my anticipation is to do that.
Good,
So I want to make sure the family is recognized for the sacrifices that they endured.
good.
And he was a volunteer officer. He did not get
Exactly.
paid for what he did. And honestly, this guy was the kind of guy that you want in our community. He's the one that epitomizes, what we do. Always volunteering, always saying, hey, it's part of my community service.
Yep.
It's just the kind of guy he is, I mean, from everything I've read, he's one of those guys that you love to meet.
Well, and we need to make sure everyone knows about this.
Absolutely.
Do you have a press release worked up that we can send out to the Leader and the Oregonian, Registered Guard, Statesman Journal, those folks?
I can craft one.
Because people need to know about this man.
Absolutely. It was the Stevens Journal that did that article for us in one of the,
Yep.
they did a really good article on Gary. Both me and the mayor were able, had the opportunity to meet some of Gary's family, and they were very touched about the city's stance and finally getting the recognition for Officer Sumter that he deserved. So they're very appreciative of the steps taken.
Well, Chief, I'm pretty sure I know the outcome of the decision item now, but we'll take it up during decision items.
I appreciate it. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Chief. All right. Next up, visitors' public comment. Is there anyone who would like to address council this evening on any items not on the current agenda?
If there's anyone online who'd like to speak to the council, please raise your hand electronically and you will be recognized. I see no hands raised, Mayor.
Thank you. All right. We have no items on the consent agenda. We have no items on discussion. I am going to add an item on decision. Reimbursement for sponsorship. And I'll explain that when we get there.
On the discussion item about the time to bring something up that a community member asked about yesterday.
So is it on this agenda?
No, it's not. It's just something that somebody had asked yesterday with the event.
Council comments.
Okay.
All right. First up on decision items, consider expenditure for highway memorial sign for patrol officer Gary Sumter. Will this be for 2 signs? Am I correct?
Just the one.
Just the one. Okay. Is there any way we can make it lighted and be able to be seen from space?
That is something we would have to ask about.
But when I've seen them, they've had them up in other places, both directions.
I don't know, I have to ask, well, like, ask ODOT and get that from.
Okay.
But we can adorn it with flags.
Okay, good. Comments, council?
Just glad this is finally getting done. I went and read the story on it after the last meeting and I'm just blown away by it.
Well, so I'm gonna make a motion. I know I don't do this very often. But I'm gonna make a motion to award provisionally $1,200 if we can do 2 signs. From
One going
each way. For Officer Sumter's recognition.
I would second that.
Mhm.
The location of where he expired was Mount Plus 15. I don't think that's gonna be a area that we can place it. But my hopes is that we can place it near Highway 229 and Business 20 so that all of our tourists can see it on the way.
Well, I'd like, and that's why I'm thinking about 2. We put one there and we put one on Silet's on the way out.
Like that.
Any comment before we vote on the motion? Stu, you got anything?
No, all I can say is I was a senior in high school when that happened, and it was very horrific. And I am glad that it's coming to this right now and happy to join in and say yes.
Okay. So it's been moved by myself, seconded by, can't remember, was it you, Kim?
Frank.
By Frank, to approve a provisional expenditure of $1,200.
I just point of order, if you can. By our fund that you're wanting to run that for, we need to state the fund that you're taking.
Go.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
all right,
Haven't got there yet.
all right, gotcha.
Provisionally, $1,200 from the City Council Strategic Reserve line item to fund 2 signs for Officer Sumter. I'll take a roll call vote. Counselor Kaufman,
Yes.
Counselor Strom,
Yes.
Counselor Burns,
Yes.
Council President Bush,
Yes.
Counselor Sylvia,
Absolutely.
and I vote yes.
Yay.
Motion carries unanimously. Next item, consider funding request from Toledo High School wrestling team for mat room. I believe my staff report will be from Tyler Watkins. If you would step up, state your name for the record, sir.
Hello, Mayor, City Council. My name's Tyler Watkins. I'm a teacher at Toledo High School and head wrestling coach, co-head wrestling coach with Tony Blomstrom this year. I did baseball last year and doing football this year, so forgive me for being a little bit late and sweaty. Last time I was here, there was some confusion and I'd like to take a moment and just clear that up with everyone if that's okay. I'm new to these sorts of policies working with the school district. So I was told when I got this job that there had been plans to raise funds to build a mat room for the Toledo High School students and for the mat club and the competitive middle school team. That kind of died on the vine with the school district's last superintendent, who was told, and I'll just air quotes, you cannot raise money until you get permission, but you cannot get permission from the school district until you have the funds. But to us, that's kind of like a zero-sum game in the military. We would call that. You don't really have a starting point, and you can't really do anything with that. So
Yeah.
myself being a creative individual thought, well, I'm not going to go to the school district. I'm going to start fundraising through our MAT club, which is a USA MAT club. And then if the MAT club has the money, I'll have the answers to a lot of the questions that the school district would ask should I decide to go and ask for permission to build a MAT club or a MAT room on school district property. Mainly like, where's the money coming from? We have the money. So I guess word got out somehow, small community, word got out that I had come here last time. The superintendent had found out that I was fundraising and there was confusion on who I was representing while I was doing that fundraising. I was representing the MAT club because I am also a MAT club coach for USA Wrestling, is one of the wrestlers that do. And then I had to go have a meeting with the superintendent. During the course of that meeting, she did give me permission to begin fundraising in order to find an architect to draw up the blueprints and then go to Toledo for building plans and submission process. So that's where we're at currently. And this is in order to get approval from the city of Toledo and the school district on these building plans to then build a mat room, which services not only our high school boys wrestling team, our girls wrestling team, but our middle school team and our MAC club, which has close to 100 kids. And I would argue that probably 10% of those kids are tribal. So this is who we're servicing, is the youth of our community. So I just wanted to be explicitly clear today in where we're at. We are fundraising and for the blueprint design for a building that is roughly 45 by 75 square feet. And then also the building plan process through the city of Toledo. So I am here today asking for seed money, $5,000 of seed money to be donated to the MAC Club, which then would be used to work with an architect and an engineer for blueprint design so that we could submit the plans through the city of Toledo. That's what I got. Thank you very much for having me back. I apologize about any confusion and the grace, I'm doing the best I can for the kids, and sometimes there's bumps in the road, and that's called policy.
Well, I will tell you that I followed up your meeting by meeting with the superintendent, and let's just say that I think that you did a very good political job of describing the two administrations. And
Not a diplomat.
But, one of the things that you and I talked about is you need seed money because that's what grants flow out of. If you have a hard capital, then grant people believe that, okay, you have community support.
Right.
And that's why I encouraged you in the beginning to come see us.
Right.
Because this shows not only community support, but it shows community support with actual hard dollars. And so, I'm really hoping, because I'll be blunt, they've been talking about this for at least 20 years that I know of.
No way.
Yeah. And I would really like to see it happen.
I've given my word that I'll make sure this happens, whether it's at the school or out in town somewhere. These kids will have a mat room.
I know you will, and that's why I'm with you on this. So, council, have you got any questions? Stu, anything?
Yes, I also heard that the school district is online to do this project. And that my question would be, okay, if the seed money comes to you, where will it go? Will it go to a local bank, or how will it be spent? Besides just, I mean, who's going to be in charge of it?
So that I guess I could directly answer. There's 3 people that are listed on the account. It's Heather Tower is one of our USA MAC Club members. Her son wrestles. And then Angie Rutherford and Tony Blomstrom are all account holders for our USA MAC Club. And they have a checking account. That money would be deposited into the checking account through the USA MAC Club, unless you need an EIN number. So that I guess would be something we can discuss, but that would have to go through the school. But if it goes through our USA MAC Club, that money would be in an account. And then we would use that money to help fund, say we have seed money for grants, and then also would be used towards blueprint development with an engineer.
Well, that sounds good. That comforts me, just as long as I know that you have an account and the money is going to be responsibly spent.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll be diligent.
Okay, Lisa.
So when the council does make a motion, just for the record, we'll need to identify which specific group the money is going to go to.
MAC Club, correct?
USA MAC, unless the council needs an
USA MAC Club's fine. We just need to know.
if it'll go through the USA MAC Club, Toledo.
I have a question. So after the architects are hired, they're gonna figure out what's gonna be built, and then it'll be put up for bid. And then what happens from there? Is the school board gonna pay for The construction, I'm sorry, I'm not understanding how it works.
So the way that it's been articulated to me is that we, the citizens of Toledo, the coaches and the wrestlers are responsible for the costs of this. This is not on any, they don't have any money at the district at this time. I have spoken with, I don't know, anyways, there's a bond, and I don't know if this is a priority on the bond or not. So and that's next year, so I'm gonna do what I can do in the meantime, in the interim, and try to be diligent, so this is where we're at. There, at the current moment, there is no being offered at the present time.
Got it. Thank you.
Any other questions, council? I would entertain a motion.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the request of $5,000 seed money to be paid to USA Mat Club for the building of the mat wrestling.
Second.
Room thing.
All right, it's been moved by Frank, seconded by Jackie Kaufman to approve an expenditure of $5,000 from the City Council Strategic Reserve Fund
Got that part.
to the USA Mat Club in Toledo of $5,000 as seed money for the wrestling team room. That work?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I'll take a roll call vote. Counselor Strom,
Yes.
Counselor Burns,
Oh, yes.
Council President Bush,
Yes.
Counselor Coughlin,
Yes.
Counselor Soviet,
Absolutely.
and I vote yes. Motion carries 6-0.
You're very absolutely.
Yes.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. That means a lot, so thank you. Appreciate it.
Get a hold of me if you need any help.
Yeah, thank you for coming.
It's a school night, you don't have to stay.
See, this is what I like. He's smiling.
Me, him?
Him.
He doesn't ever smile.
And I didn't have to prompt it
Yeah,
like I do every other time.
it matters, and I'm very grateful.
And that's all because of him and the other coaches alongside of him. His mother and I tried to make that smile for years. It didn't work.
Yay.
All right. Next item, resolution number 1560, a resolution approving a referral to the electors of the city of Toledo at the November 5th, 2024 general election. The question of whether to adopt a new city charter. Lisa?
Mayor, council, before you tonight, it's a resolution and it's approving a referral. Basically, as you said, the heading, just to ask the electors of Toledo and whether or not to adopt a new city charter. The staff report and the city charter that's been included in the packet has been presented to the council several meetings. So I'm not gonna go over anything that's already in there. I do have one note to make. I do know that Mayor Cross was approached by a citizen who had some questions in regards to the city charter, and Mayor Cross approached staff. And so one of the questions was in regards to the meetings. As was discussed, the counselors would receive compensation for business meetings. However, there wasn't clarification as to what exactly is a business meeting. And so staff kind of talked about it, and the options were either to define what a business meeting is or provide an exclusion into the charter. And so on your dais, before the start of the meeting, I passed something out, and then I'm going to project it to the screen just for the sake of the audience. Mike and I came up with the language. The language would be item number 6 under section 3.11, which is the compensation on the city charter. And so basically what it says is meetings of city appointed committees, advisory groups, task force, ad hoc groups, and situations where any council member acts as a member or liaison, parentheses, such as on a budget committee or technical advisory committee, are not eligible for compensation. So basically, if a counselor Budget committee, as the example, you would receive compensation for that. If you're serving on a task force for Lincoln County or whatnot, it's strictly business meetings for the city of Toledo. And if the council is okay with that, I've also provided a motion, and this motion would add the amendment for the city charter, and I would prefer to have this motion first before we have the resolution motion. And the floor is open for council.
Question.
Questions.
Page 17 highlighted in yellow, letter E. Why is that highlighted yellow?
I just forgot to unhighlight it.
I didn't know what it was, so I was like, ah. Okay, good. That's my only question.
I'm just keeping you on your toes.
Jackie,
There was a test.
That failed.
I move to amend section 3.11 of the proposed city charter to include the statement as presented.
I'll second that motion.
all right, hold on. Didn't expect you guys to get here that quick.
Sorry, maybe.
All right.
You asked.
Well, I have to say, thank you, staff. I think this will answer the questions that I got. And it was from somebody who actually knows how to read the charter and everything, and they were just unsure. And
That's great.
if this person was unsure, I'm pretty sure a lot of other folks would be unsure. So, thank you very much, staff. I like the approach you took. I really do. That's a good way of putting it.
Well, I know that we had discussed it.
Yeah, but you know,
We didn't do anything.
we did not
about
codify it.
So thank you.
So can we move to approve resolution number?
That's from headed now.
Okay.
So we have a motion by Jackie Kaufman, second by Frank, to amend section 3.11 of the proposed city charter to include the statement as presented. I will take a roll call vote. Counselor Strong.
Yes.
Counselor Burns.
Yes.
Council President Bush.
Yes.
Counselor Sylvia.
Yes, sir.
Counselor Kaufman.
Yes.
And I vote yes, motion carries 6-0. Any other discussion on the resolution? Then I would entertain a motion.
I move to approve resolution number 1560, a resolution of the Toledo City Council approving a referral to the electors of the city of Toledo at the November 5th, 2024 general election, the question of whether to adopt a new city charter.
Second.
You doing it?
No, I said, do I have a second?
I'll second.
Well, usually, you know, if you're gonna do that, you're there.
Mayor,
Yes, sir.
before you vote, I
Yes,
would I would have you ask for a potential conflict of interest. And everyone say
Gotcha.
there's a potential, not an actual.
So since this involves compensation to all of us, we should declare a conflict of interest, and I will just say possible.
Yeah.
Which the difference between possible and actual is may or will.
Because it really doesn't affect us, because it's not until the next election.
And it's not approved by us, it's approved by the voters.
But it's
Right,
still,
it's still
when it comes,
involves us.
when it comes to being transparent, we need to always be transparent, not just when we want to be. So I am gonna declare a possible conflict of interest.
I declare a possible.
Stu?
I really do.
I think he's on mute.
Stu, you're muted again.
No, I'm not muted. I just
Oh.
want to say that I don't have a conflict of interest. I won't be here.
No, you lean forward, Stu. So usually when you lean forward, you talk and you lean forward and then sat back. So I thought you talked, so I thought you were on mute.
I thought so.
I was just chuckling.
All
I'll just be
right.
in the audience giving you guys grief.
All right, I will take a roll call vote. Counselor Kaufman,
Yes.
Counselor Strong,
Yes.
Counselor Burns,
Yes.
Counselor Sylvia,
Absolutely.
Council President Bush.
Yes.
And I vote yes, motion carries 6-0.
So now staff can't say anything about it, only us,
No,
right?
not until we go,
It hasn't been, so.
it hasn't been submitted. Once it's submitted,
The voter
then,
can-
then they're out of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Stu, we have flyers to pass out if you want to come by the city hall and pick them up.
Oh, I'll be more than happy to do that.
Thank you, Stu.
Drive your
boat over.
Mayor Cross.
Yes, ma'am.
So for the sake of just informing the council, so the next steps, we will need to do a publication in the newsletter. And so City Attorney Adams and I will be working on that in the next week and getting that in their
Newspaper.
newspaper. Yes, what did I say?
Newsletter.
Sorry. And so. That too. And there's a 7-day appeal period once it's filed with me for the publication. And then I don't have to submit it to the county clerk until September 5th.
Okay,
And I will put some information on the website. Currently, our website is being migrated to a new version. It's not a website redesign, it's just back end stuff. And so I'm somewhat limited in some of the content that I can put up. So the information on the website probably won't be available until about August 15th or so.
So Lisa, what goes in the paper, is it what's in here or the whole proposed?
It's going to be the ballot title and the explanatory statement that was Exhibit A to the resolution. And so it's just a question to the electors and then.
Okay.
Yeah.
The website's gonna have the old and the new both, so they can go on there, and that's where we need to direct people to go on if they'd like to go over the past and the present.
right. And so the item I added, so I became aware on, what was it? On, at Art Oysters and Brews on Saturday of an opportunity for the city to help sponsor the powwow out in Celeste. Since we have several tribal members that live within the city limits, I felt it was a good thing. The problem was there was a deadline of Monday to do it. And so I went ahead and put sponsorship for the city of Toledo down at $150. And used my credit card to do that with. So I just wanted to bring it up to you all. I'll be honest, if you don't want to reimburse me, I can live.
I'll make a motion to reimburse the mayor.
You have an actual conflict of interest.
Yes, I have an actual
Should not vote.
conflict of interest.
I will make a motion to reimbursement to Mayor Rod Cross with money spent to sponsor the Celeste Tribal Powwow by the city of Toledo.
I second.
I'm gonna give it to Jackie, but here's the thing, I gotta know where you're getting the money from.
Oh, from the council's strategic fund thing, yeah, that.
And after tonight, how much?
You say
do we
those
have left?
words one more time and you will find out just how fast you can leave this building.
Not intended with a negative
And
connotation.
just so
Oh,
everybody
neither
knows,
was it the last time I heard it, and I watched the city manager go the color of that whiteboard.
for anybody who is not aware, the powwow starts Thursday night,
Right,
this Thursday.
Well, as
Right,
long as
it's
the
been-
mayor, is the mayor going to be at the?
yes,
the,
because finally I don't have my mayor's conference on this weekend.
I
I
hope you're
finally
gonna
get to
be
go.
in, I hope you're gonna be in one of the parades. They're very colorful.
Regalia?
No, I don't have any of my tribal regalia because my mom never put us into that stuff, so.
Sorry.
Yeah, you weren't. If I'm asked to, I would be honored.
Yes.
So we'll see what happens.
You
All
look
right, it's-
good in those skins.
You've been talking to my wife again, haven't you?
Yeah.
My God. Yeah.
It's been moved by Frank, seconded by Jackie to approve reimbursement to the mayor for sponsorship for the powwow. With funds to be taken from the city council strategic reserve of $150. We'll take a roll call vote. Counselor Strong,
Yes.
Counselor Burns,
Yes.
Council President Bush,
Yes.
Counselor Kaufman,
Yes.
Counselor Sylvia,
Yes,
I abstain.
absolutely.
Motion carries 501. All right, that's it for decision items, reports and comments. I'll start with Lisa.
Art Oysters and Brews was a success. It was fun. If you missed out, then shame on you. I did get a lot of feedback that from vendors, people who attended, volunteers, that they really liked the one weekend versus the 3 weekends. So I think we're going to be moving forward with that from here on out.
Does it look like it'll be the same weekend, first weekend in August?
Yes,
Because that seems to fit well within the county parameter.
it did. Yeah, a lot of people did like that. And a lot of the vendors, we had several new vendors and they really liked the weekend as well.
Good.
I did, and I think she had a talk also with Van Life, and they are entertaining of bringing in Van Life, moving it one weekend back into.
So
complying with-
phenomenal. Everybody that heard that idea was like, that's crazy.
It's not for sure yet, but they're.
But somebody even, I know it's not my
We're gonna
turn to
get
talk,
car
but
show.
yeah, that they were saying
We need
to
to get the
put the
car show
car
back.
show on Main Street with Art Oysters and Brews with Van Life. I mean, it would be incredible. We would run out of food.
Well, I think we need a bigger stage.
Yeah.
Stage area for music,
Yeah.
for a band like that.
We can make that
Yeah.
happen.
Let's do it.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I
Anything
have.
else, Lisa?
We just need more volunteers if that happens.
Please. All right, Chief Pace.
I would like to put something on, you guys' mind in the future. It's one of those city council goals that I've asked you guys to consider in the past, and that is retention and hiring ideas for all of our departments. But I feel that I'm gonna be facing a shortfall again here shortly. So please, come up with some ideas. I appreciate it. I'm asking for your help because I'm all out of them. So, other than that, everything else has been going rather smooth.
Good. Any questions for Chief Pace? I will tell you that I think National Night Out, while we didn't have as many vendors / stations, I think there were more people there last night than we've had in the past.
We had, what, over 400 plus hamburgers and 90 hot dogs that were gone well before we were supposed to close the place down. I think we stopped serving probably, what, 7:30 or something like that.
Yeah, that's when everything got tore down at 7:30.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we anticipated probably about the same amount, but we did not anticipate we'd run out of food that quickly.
Good problem to have.
Yes.
Yeah, my granddaughter asked if it could be our thing every year. She's 8. She loved it, had a ball.
We do it every year.
Do it every year.
And I said, well, did you like it better? Because I took her to the county fair with all the bouncy houses. She goes, this bouncy house was the best. So she loved it, better than the fair. So there you go.
We won't comment.
And I believe Miss Kim got the card to the bouncy house too.
I did, so
Did you?
we can, yeah, the business card, so if we need another bouncy house, we know who to call. Cause I know Ron in the past has wanted to get a bouncy house and no one on the coast had it, but this is out of Corvallis.
So we have to be careful with that as far as the liability insurance.
Right.
Cover. So it's good that I'm another organization. that does
Yes,
that.
yes, that was not provided by us, that was provided by, what's their name?
TCB.
TCB, I keep wanting to say TCB, yeah, TCB, which is the security people out of Newport.
People talk.
They completely did that for us, that was
Yay.
amazing, yeah.
That's
What
great.
was that, Stu?
Oh, nothing, just, I thought the event in my travels, I saw it in a couple other places and it was a huge success everywhere.
Okay. Is Chief Robinson with us tonight?
He is not.
Okay. Is Public Works Director Lorimer with us tonight? Okay.
We're working on a.
Is Harrison with us tonight? Okay, well, moving right along then. Mike?
wrapped up a legal review for the city manager. It's confidential. Not gonna tell you what it was. SEL form. We could do that sometime in executive session if you'd like. And
Just dangle it right in front of our nose and then snatch it away. Well done, Mike.
Anyway, legal advice. It was lengthy and it was important. Gonna work on an SEL form and publication and continue working on the employee handbook, and there's a laundry list of other things.
Any questions for Mike?
I have one thought, question or something, and that is back to this parking situation. And I would hope that we move forward on this parking fines coming to the Toledo so that we can start handing out parking tickets and taking care of some parking problems.
Thank you, Counselor. As a council, do we kind of have consensus that we want
Well, I'm
to?
gonna be bringing up something in my council comments along this line.
Okay,
And we'll see what kind of,
I plan to come back on the 24th.
Yeah. I want to see what everyone's reaction is with this idea I have. Won't affect you, Frank. Amanda?
Say, I've been working on something too, but I'm not gonna tell you. No.
That's very cool. That's very cool.
So, Mayor, Council, just one quick report. We have been working, I became aware of it shortly after I was hired here a little less than a year ago, and I'm working this year on looking into it and working with my staff, and we've got going. So it was brought to my attention that we hadn't turned unclaimed property over to the state of Oregon in some years. My accounting supervisor wasn't sure the last time it was done. So we looked into it, and with having a full department now, we've been able to get someone on it full time. So we did reach out to the state and discovered that the city of Toledo has not remitted or escheated unclaimed property to the state of Oregon since 2011. I have no idea why past staff was reporting and escheating and stopped, but they did. So we are now, I've been working with the state. I've signed a voluntary disclosure agreement, just saying we will get in compliance. So we will be reporting this year, and then they sign off on an agreement so that we won't be penalized, charged any interest or penalties for failure to report, and we will remit all past properties to the state within 6 months.
So how many? Like, do we have a ton of stuff or is it just a few things? How often do we get now I have questions.
Well, if I probably should have started with, is everyone familiar with unclaimed property?
No.
Yeah, there's.
So unclaimed property is actually, and I have a little PowerPoint I put together to train Marley, so I could do a little training for council, but in a nutshell, it's any unclaimed monies. So the word property makes people think physical items.
That's
like a
what I
lost
was thinking. I'm like, is there whole furniture?
And it could be, I mean, think of like an abandoned big safe deposit box, if you have
Okay.
items in it, for example. But this is primarily, it's uncashed checks. This is what every
Okay.
organization, any type of entity has. Checks that never get cashed.
Tax
Whether it be payroll checks, accounts payable, that we send out checks to vendors. A lot of them are when people go off of utility service, that's the majority of ours. They have a credit balance on their account, usually due to a deposit. And after their final billing, we mail a check. And they've moved or whatever happens, they don't cash the check. So there's always uncashed checks on your book, and by law, every state has these laws. You're required to turn that over to the state
Right.
for holding, and then the rightful owner or heir is supposed to collect it from the state. It's not our money to keep. Once we've issued it, it's not ours. So we have, it's not too terribly many, but we do have quite a few years of uncashed checks on our books. So we're gonna be taking care of that this year.
Thank you for cleaning house. I appreciate it. Yeah.
Alrighty then.
Yes, and it goes to a good cause. So here in the state of Oregon,
all unclaimed property, and you can look this up if you'd like. The unclaimed property is administered by the Oregon State Treasury. And the funds actually sit, and the interest earned on that goes to fund the K through 12 public schools. So it's
cool.
it's going to
It's
be a good
working.
cause, it's working for us while it's sitting there waiting to be claimed.
What's your middle name, Mayor? Middle initial?
I don't know if I want to answer.
Keep looking if you have unclaimed property, I think.
Really?
Yeah,
Lee,
yeah.
If you are somebody who's moved a couple of times.
Yeah, check out the state.
Across state.
It's a good habit
You
to
can-
check.
The state registries.
No, I'm serious. I'm looking at it. I've done the same thing with myself.
good golly, I'll have to look at that.
They usually have a form you
fill out. Yeah, well, I guarantee it's not the lottery.
Yeah, you just.
Is it the lottery?
They'll tell you how, you know, you find your information, it could be like, maybe you had to deposit it on an old account, or you moved, or. You know, a bank account that somebody forgot about, all kinds of
There's
things, but you
four
can put your name in.
entries that say greater than $100.
Yeah.
And one entry that says between 25 and 49.99.
Well, I'll have to go
And
look that
and
up.
931 Northeast Alder Street.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes.
Go
Oh, my
home.
goodness.
And he has
my
like
property.
under it.
Yeah.
Even more.
Wow.
I looked at Jackie first. I just started with somebody random.
Which Jackie?
You.
Oh, I'm Jacqueline.
Oh, sorry, then maybe that's what.
All right, while he does that, Doug, do you have anything for us?
Just briefly, I just kind of wanted to give just a quick synopsis of where we are on some of the projects that were assigned to us through the goal setting sessions. You know, we're working, finance is working on the software updates. We're on par, looking at September, October time range there, which was expected, and that's good to hopefully go live and be ready to go with that. After that, I know we were directed on a wage survey for this coming year. We're gonna, so I don't put too much, also you gotta understand working on an audit.
Yeah.
So we're just trying to like not overload her, right? So we'll have a wage survey moving forward after that. And then, which will be probably just about in time for TPSA negotiations. I have been speaking with the TPSA a little bit. I think we're gonna change up our negotiation strategy, which I think in turn could save the city $15,000-$20,000 if things go well. So more to that to come as we get closer. Public safety building, just an update there. Because it seems like it's just sitting, right? And not a lot happening. You gotta realize there was a lot of seismic stuff going on, so they're inside. A lot of strapping going on and installing straps. Right now, we're in the phase of the straps have been installed. We're waiting a third-party company to come in and investigate the straps and make sure that they're correct. So that's not something the building inspector does, has to be signed off third party. So we're waiting on that, and then they'll be pouring some I think they are working on the concrete stuff downstairs as we speak on the inside. And then once that's completed, you'll see the roof take form. So they believe they're on track for end of September. So they're about a month and a half behind. And the biggest problem there has been doors. They are still back ordered. They were originally given 6 weeks on the back order and we're already at 8. So, you know, we're trying to find out what's going on with the doors. They're in la of it too. So, and they can't really side till the doors are put in. Yeah. So
Wait, Frank said phase 1, so.
this is phase 1.
Oh, I thought you meant like, ta-da.
No. Phase 1 of the 1.3 million will be complete.
Oh, okay. Yeah, sorry, memory's the first.
and then an update on First Street, find time, and now we've got a timeline that first middle part of September, they should be done. I believe they've got some of the bigger tie-ins done. They are doing pretty good. They're keeping the services up. We've had little downtime. I think we got a couple complaints there that water was off maybe a little longer than it should, but we've been working through those. And and then I think now they've got the message, as Brian's been up there and chewing on them quite a bit, that they're finally moving. The other thing coming forward, I got notified of this like when I first came on the job, and kind of gonna start looking at is the East Lincoln Fire District contract, and we also got to be looking at the Seal Rock water contract. So those are a couple things that this fall I'll probably be concentrating on, trying to get these summed up. So that's kind of where we're at right now.
Any questions or comments?
Do we have we picked out the colors for the public safety building? Do we have like a architectural rendering, like we could show people?
I can tell you that staff, not this staff, but the police department and the public works department picked out the colors, and yeah, I think dark blue on the
Dark blue,
lettering,
gray,
and dark blue and
Big
gray.
bright pink.
Just on the exterior,
Yellow.
yeah, is where we're at right now. And I think they provided a kind of a color.
They did, I'll make sure to get.
We'll have to see if we got that.
It'd just be nice to have, coming soon, people can see what we're seeing with plywood.
If not, it's not hard to call the architect and they can paint it up on the thing pretty quick.
They're really good people to work with.
Yeah.
Good.
I don't know, I'll let you talk about the pool area where we're at. So, okay,
I'll add that to my list.
okay. That's all.
Okay. Well, council comments, Stu.
Not a lot, just enjoying myself out of the country. And what was the outcome for the city tour for the counselors? What date?
The one on which one? Are you talking about the one with Dahl or the one with?
Or we're touring, that's council touring all the different states.
We're touring all the facilities of the city.
Oh, that's right.
You look at that.
Brian did get that.
Did he?
Yeah, did
He
he?
asked me to do a doodle poll and
We're waiting on a doodle poll to come in for
let
some
me,
dates.
yeah, let me look to see if everybody.
I have not seen one.
I did mine.
I did mine.
I did
I
mine.
did mine.
Probably came in last week while I was gone.
Yep.
So far, Monday, August 19th, is that work for you? Maybe?
Yeah, I can do that.
Okay. I will let Brian.
Anything else, Sue?
That's it.
Okay. Jackie Kaufman.
I've been pretty riled about my.
Yeah, I understand. Right?
I don't have much. Yesterday at that national night out, it was awesome. All the kids just tickled pink with the coloring and the different things they were seeing. I did have one citizen come and ask about getting a speed hump put in out there at 18th because people are just roaring through and kids are about getting hit. And she about ran over some kids because people are parking on the roads and people are hauling ass dirt going fast through there. And she's working too late to be able to come into the council. So the suggestion was made for her to send an email, but I just wanted to bring that up as something
So
to talk about.
one of the residents got a hold of me and I explained to her the easy way. It's not the cheapest way, but the easy way is for the residents to come together, form a limited improvement district and go that route. Because for the city to do it, number one, as I understand it, speed humps are better. Speed bumps are no-goes for the street sweeper. Speed humps are a little bit better, but they're harder to maintain. And if the city does it, then we would probably end up doing a lot of them, and they're not cheap. So, I think that we ought to have Brian look into it. But we need to let people know we get it. Yeah. Probably the easier way to do it is to have one of our officers down there in the hours that the people are being idiots.
What was the, what'd you call that thing that you suggested?
So there's speed humps, which
Yeah, I know.
are, okay, and then there's the speed bump, like, you know, the ones that break your suspension.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there was something you said before those.
Forming, what you're talking about, the group forming.
A limited improvement district. It's where residents of a neighborhood can get together and they can pool, for lack of a better, their own tax money. So they create a district, charge however many cents 1,000 to accomplish whatever the goal is.
Oh.
That helps everybody there, it becomes attached to the property. And so even if you sell, it still stays with the property and they're still paying for the LID.
So this may be a stupid question, but don't they have like rumble strips too, that like, it's a few strips you run over and it's
But I don't
noisy?
know how that affects, but I don't,
The sweeper.
yeah, I don't know how it affects the sweeper.
Because I thought those were like much smaller.
Yes, sir.
Strips are very annoying to the people that live next to it.
Okay.
Oh, they're
It
loud.
makes it very annoying.
Yeah, okay.
There are some optical illusion things that you could do with the street that might be a cheaper alternative that might slow people down for a short period of time.
Optical.
Paint, you know, traffic, street paint, whatnot.
Take a speed bump.
She's gonna show you something up here in a second.
Oh, and of course, Lisa just happens to have them just ready.
I don't know. Sorry.
But other than that, I have nothing else.
Okay, I know. Counselor Burns?
No, not a thing. Thank you very much.
That's cool.
It is.
Yeah.
Looking forward to the church.
Council President Bush?
I have a few things and I didn't write them down, so I'm sure I'll forget some of them. So I brought up last year after National Night Out, Tracy and I both brought this up. And I realized last night that nothing had been done about it. And I talked to Brian and he said it's because the school district hadn't relinquished Memorial Field back to us yet, so we couldn't do anything last. Didn't the school district have Memorial?
Oh, we terminated.
Right, but now we can.
Yeah.
What I'm getting at is the railing on the sides of the bleachers do not have anything covering them. And we watched so many kids almost fall through those last year. And I just see a lawsuit waiting to happen against the city so I was like, we've got to get some more of that.
Lattice.
The lattice and attach it just up the two sides, I think. However much that costs is worth us not getting sued for a child hurting themselves because they fell through. Also, I know some of us are aware already, but somebody was trying to start a fire under the bleachers. So we need more cameras out there.
I have 4 and a
No,
DVR I can donate. I'm not using them. I got four outdoor cameras and a DVR.
Are you paying attention?
Yep, I was made.
I figured you were aware already.
Made it already the other day.
No, we got somebody that wants to offer up cameras and a DVR for it.
Yeah, I've got DVR and cameras that I'm not using in my house that I will donate to you guys to put up to protect our stuff.
Yay.
National Night Out looks fantastic. I was so excited about everything. There were some comments made. One of them was some of our citizens wished that we had had more school supplies. And I thought I never even crossed my mind with school starting, but maybe next year.
I would tell you that the schools put out a note this year that school supplies were being supplied by the school this year.
Really? Wow. But I was just gonna say next year, if city council wanted to donate some.
I don't know. I
Supplies or
just saw it come across Facebook. and
That's
there's a little
cool.
note that they're inviting
It takes a
schools.
lot of.
Yeah, because there was quite a.
The only thing they needed to provide was a backpack, and they had like a backpack and.
They ran out.
So all Lincoln County church schools.
Said Lincoln County Schools.
That's amazing.
Like, who's the church group that is usually down Memorial Field every year?
We had a
And
new
they
one this
play
year,
their
but
music and everything. No, it's a one-day
Yeah.
event thing. And they,
Do a Foursquare church.
is that who does
They used
it?
to do that.
Anyway, yeah, it used to be a blast. They had all kinds of stuff down the field and they would hand out backpacks and stuff.
but I know we'll be thanking people in the next few days, but everybody that volunteered and all the people that came and helped, it was incredible. It was really, I just want to thank everybody because we can't do any of this without volunteers. I think that's it.
Huge thank you to Ron Bush.
He's hurting today.
I bet he is.
Hopefully it'll be better tomorrow.
I've never seen him smile so much when he puts this thing together though.
Yeah,
I really enjoy it.
yeah. And he's like, oh, this didn't happen and this, I'm like, you did a really good job. Yeah, and he's, well, I didn't, and it's like, you did a really good job, like, stop. Yeah,
We are our own worst critics.
oh, God, yeah.
Don't,
That's twice.
yeah, don't do that. All right, so I do have things written down, so this
Go
might
for
take a
it.
bit. So on the retention issue, I'll be blunt, by the time we enter into next budget season, we have to have a plan for retention for our employees. And it's going to cost money. There is no getting around that, and we need to figure out how to do that. The salary study is gonna help, but the very fact that, and I will use personal information on this. My son and his wife could not find a place to rent in Toledo that was within $300 of the brand new apartment that you see when you go through Philomath, between Philomath and that brand new apartment. 2-bedroom apartment is cheaper than anything 2-bedroom in Toledo by $300 or more. We're gonna have a very hard time recruiting and retaining people if we don't come up with some way to feather the cap, as it were. And part of that is in a message that I was at today, working with the state, the county, and what a private company called iSector, and they do workforce housing. That's what they build. And I was in a meeting with them. We're discussing the Department of Forestry land that's up here up behind the feed and seed. We're, shall we say, encouraging the state to move quickly. We brought out several ideas for them. The state doesn't have any quote pilot projects in the works on how to do that quickly. Well, we encourage them to let's figure out a way to do this because they're supposed to move out sometime in 2025. We would like to break ground the day after they move out so that we can quickly get some housing up for workforce housing here in Toledo. On traffic, I was speaking with several people of the public, and they tend to all agree with me that we should, if there is a way, Mike, I hope you're keeping notes, so that we can actually cite these trucks in, one person said, can we cite them in the 4-digit category? And I would love to. We could cite them into here to make it so cost prohibitive for these guys to be stupid. I'll just be blunt. Make it so cost prohibitive that maybe the word will get around, gee, I might want to read a sign, or I might want to use my company GPS. And I don't know if there's a way to do that within state law, but we've got to make it hurt. And we've got to make it hurt hard. Because Georgia Pacific has done everything they can on their end. I mean, they go straight up to corporate, and that, as you've noticed, that's not slowing them down. They furnished every company that they truck with the correct GPS coordinate route to come in and out of Toledo. That doesn't seem to be helping. So as much as I hate to say it, maybe it's time to start wielding the big stick. And how big a stick can we wield? Because something's got to be done. We can't afford having any more of our streets tore up because they can't read a sign.
I will add to that, I had a meeting with Andrea, myself, and the Public Works Director, and I believe the dispatch supervisor was there as well, and she said, please start throwing the book at them, because they've done all on their side.
Right.
She said, short of firing them all and then we have nobody, she's like, we just start citing them and maybe they'll learn.
Well, that, and if we can get I know I've said this a few times, one of those camera things and taking pictures of these jokers blowing the stop sign at 10th and Sturdivant. I've seen them almost run kids over a couple times because they don't want to come to a stop.
Yep.
That right there, that stop sign is so dangerous for people.
Yep.
Because of those semis.
So as big a stick as we can get, let's get it.
I will add, I can also, if we start doing repairs, if they damage our roads when they get stuck, for example. If we're ticketing them, getting all of their insurance information, I can also bill them for all of that and send it to the trucking company's insurance.
We've
So that-
done that in the past, and it usually takes 6 months to a year to get that back.
It still dings them.
I
And
know.
we're not doing it now.
It's still something.
Because we can include our labor,
You
materials.
just have to make it so uncomfortable that they don't have a choice but to change, yeah.
Yep.
And I'm going to continue on the frustration end of things. So a couple weeks ago, Kim was there. We met with the architects on the pool and community center idea, gymnasium. Well, a combination of those three that started out when we first started talking about this a year ago, that went from 11.6 million is now 20 million. So we met with the committee again, and I think what we've agreed on is refurbing the pool, having all the connections and all the rooms set up to be able to connect and function a gym, but the gym would become another phase. But in the process, get a very large, very multi-purpose community room out of it, which would be right across from the library. To include a kitchen and restrooms, and that would split into two 1,500 square foot meeting rooms.
No, is the plan still to move the tennis ball and the pickleball to Memorial?
That's still in the works, but we can't apply for that until next year. Because we used our last one up on the restrooms. So to get that grant, you got to kind of wait and do it in the cycle that the state does it. And that's going to be in the next state cycle. It irritates me, to say the least, that this project that we thought was really, really doable turned out to be
Huge.
how do I say this? Because of regulations, and one of which is prevailing wage regulations in the state that any government project has to go through. We're always having to do more than what you always thought you just needed. Right? You got to add this, you got to add that, you got to add the other thing. And then you got to add 20% for soft cost stuff. And I was not happy, as that committee knew very well. So I'll be honest, I was the bad cop, Kim was the good cop, and Doug was the I just facilitate cop. And We're not getting everything we wanted, but we are getting a facility that the community does need, and we can utilize that year round for community stuff. It's big enough to do a lot of things that the community's talked about a lot of over the years. So we'll be able to do that. Just now I gotta roll up my sleeves and go see if I can find us $8 million for a gym. On good notes, Art Oysters and Brews was outstanding. Saturday was probably the most packed I have ever seen it. Charlie down at Timbers, they sold over 8 bushels of oysters on Saturday alone. Most they'd ever done before was 5.
I think he said he had to go back to the farm, what, 3 times? And then we give him a different size oysters because he ran out of the oysters we were getting.
The timing seems to work well because there aren't any other big things going on in the county. So we got a lot of people from around the county to come in, which is good. The vendors I talked to were all pleased. They want to come back. We as a committee, though, we're going to have to work hard. And this year, I mean, it was hard to change in the midstream. And so now that we have this under us, I think we're going to do a better job of putting this one together for the next year, because next year will be the 5-year anniversary already. And want to have a big celebration. So looking forward to that. Don't forget that this weekend is the powwow out in Siletz. And I hope you all can go out at least for a day, and I'm going to warn you, get there early or you are not going to be parking inside the city limits of Siletz. You're going to have to find someplace and hike.
They have buses. Is it a park at City Hall and get bused up to government hall?
Yep.
Yeah.
And the week after that, don't forget the Wooden Boat Show. And for anybody who has never seen a container board race, they are the funniest and funnest things you've ever watched in your life. And I'm still waiting to see a certain counselor and former port commissioner in one of those boats.
Yeah, build one.
I don't care about building. I want to see him in it.
We let the city manager drive the boat.
So Stu, when are you going to get in the boat?
You're on mute.
Oh, in a boat?
Yeah, when are you going to get in a
No,
container board boat?
they're made out of cardboard, and and I know how that paper's made.
So what are you saying, counselor?
I'm saying I'm afraid.
Hey, the boomer boat did well.
I'll have to take some more swimming lessons.
I saw it.
And on one last thing on housing, broached subject with the port. The port, it seems very amenable to it. I've learned that there are, for lack of a better word, 2 categories of houseboats. There are, how do I say this? There are houseboats, and then there are living spaces on the water. It's the best way I can say it. If you call it a houseboat, it actually has to meet house regulations for what you're doing. If it's this other classification, it doesn't. It still functions. They all function well. They're doing it in the Dalles. They have one section of their housing that's not houseboats. They have another section of their housing down on the docks that's houseboats. And for all intents and purposes, they all work the same. It's just a matter of what you want to have. And so I've been talking with the port because they're still struggling to have housing for the workers that come in to work at the port and work on our ships. And so I'm talking with them about using the slough and their port facility down there and possibly getting something started there. Folks, we got to start thinking outside the box, because I don't know if you've noticed this, but we live in either a wetland or a hill, and if FEMA has their way, we'll never touch the wetland ever again in our entire lifetimes.
We've got so much more.
And on the hillsides, we're constrained. You can only put so much on the side of a hill. And so I really hope that we can put our heads together and come up with some innovative ways to get more housing. Also, remember, start thinking about retention. Think about what we can do to help keep employees here and to attract new employees to here. We are not going to be able to compete with Newport or Lincoln City, straight up. We're just not going to be able to. So what can we do to compete with Paloma, Junction City, other areas around this area? So Monmouth, Dallas, those folks. What can we do to make Toledo even more attractive? I think Toledo's a heck of a lot more attractive than all those places. But what can we do to make it more fiscally attractive to them? So think about that. And that's the end of my list for tonight. Good work, everybody. Way to put together that amendment tonight. Good job. Thank you, guys. Really appreciate it. With that, we are adjourned.
It's